Hey folks, welcome to Cooking with Stephen and Jacqueline. Today we're going to make a blend of fresh seasoning that is used almost every day in Trinidad and Tobago home, and it's called green seasoning. So let's sit back and enjoy the ride.
Well folks, let's go make our Trini style green seasoning, and here's our ingredients.
You will need chives, celery, pimento peppers, broadleaf thyme, culantro, bonnet pepper, garlic, ginger, white vinegar, and sea salt.
So folks, I have already washed all of my fresh ingredients. You want to make sure and do this first step. So here I have what we will call 2 bundles of celery. That is Chinese celery. This is locally grown here in Trinidad and Tobago. You want to remove about 1 inch from the bottom of the stem, and you want to discard those. This celery has a lot more flavor than the traditional celery. All I'm doing here is just chopping the stalks to about 1/2 inch to 1 inch pieces. Just give it a rough chop, leaves and all. This will make work a lot easier for the blender. And here I'm doing the same thing with the leaves. I'm just giving it a rough chop. After chopping your celery, you should end up with about 2 to 3 cups of it. Now you just want to place this into the bowl and move on to the other ingredient. Next on the list we have some green onions or scallions, or as we call it in Trinidad and Tobago, chives. As you can see, the ends has already been removed. So now you just want to give this a rough chop around the same size that you have chopped the celery. When you have finished giving this a rough chop, you should end up with around 3 to 4 cups of the green onions or scallions, whichever way you prefer to call them. Now it's time to add them to the pool and move on to the following ingredient. And remember, you can adjust the measurements of the ingredients to suit your liking. Well, this next ingredient is a bit controversial depending on your genetics. Here I have some culantro, which is a lot stronger than cilantro. Here I'm just going to remove the part closest to the root, which is about 1 inch, and we want to use from there upwards, which is the leaf part. Well, in case you're so genetically inclined that you don't like cilantro, you can just leave it out and just add some more green onions and some celery to the mix. Here I have some Mexican thyme or broadleaf thyme, or as we call it in Trinidad and Tobago, padina. You don't want to use plenty of this because it is very strong, so about 4 to 6 leaves will do, and of course you want to give it a rough chop as well. And next, going into the pool, I have a couple pieces of ginger, about 2 inches, a couple tablespoons worth. Here I'm just going to give it a thin slice. That will make the processing easier for the blender. Next, going into the mix will be some garlic. Here I have 3 large cloves of garlic, but of course you can add more or less. And of course you want to give this a rough chop as well. Here I have some flavored peppers, about 4. We call them pimento peppers. If you can't find this, you can use Plobano or banana peppers. That will work just as well. Last but not least, we are going in with 1 green Scotch bonnet pepper. You can use a habanero or a jalapeno, whichever floats your boat. We'll throw this into the mix and we are on our way to making our green seasoning. Well, here we have our blender, so we are on to our races. We want to add a little bit of seasoning at a time. And to help bring out those flavors, you need to add some salt. Here I'm adding 1 to 2 tablespoons of sea salt. So to bring everything together, I have 1 to 2 cups of white distilled vinegar. You want to gradually add this while blending. Now this seasoning is practically in almost every household in Trinidad and Tobago, be it store-bought or homemade. Now that our first batch is blended down, you want to continue adding your seasoning and give it a whiz. This seasoning can be used to season your beef, your pork, goat, lamb, poultry and fish. It is very versatile. Now that our second batch is done, it's time to add a bit of the vinegar once again. You don't want your consistency to be too thick or too thin, but you also want the blender to do its job. And now it's time to add the remaining of that salt and also the remaining of the vinegar. As you can see, we are coming along nicely. So put the cover on and let's give this a whiz. You can feel free to add a couple sprigs of the fine leaf thyme, also oregano and some fresh mint leaves if you have. Well, now that you have added the last batch to the pool, you want to give it a whiz one more time. You don't want to overblend this. You are looking for the consistency and texture of a chimichurri sauce. And I will have a full list of the ingredients written down in the description box below. Now that it is all blended up, we're going to pour it into a clean glass bottle. And this can keep in your fridge for at least 6 months to a year. But this will not remain in my fridge for that length of time. I will normally go through this between 4 to 6 weeks. So folks, it is all bottled up. I have the remaining which I will add to a smaller bottle. In the meanwhile, let's fasten our seatbelts and get ready for a drive-by. Let's go!
So boys and gals, here's our Trini style green seasoning and it will make your food so tasty. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like, comment and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the post notifications for more videos. See you all on our next cooking journey and we're out until next time.